So this is where that really scales up. So initially this was a really long answer, but I hope it gave everybody
it's
a
good.
idea.
This is the answer that we need. This is the hopefully. Thank you so much.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
Regardless that, some people might be agree or not with what he's doing or whatever, the thing is he's on the media all the time. And the people that's like him, the people that like him, the people that follow him, that seeing on the news, on the media all the time, they're gonna become more how we call it, more strong followers. Anyway, you cannot save anybody anyway. So whoever the peak of the market that follow him, that love what he does, regardless any political view, or whatever, they keep following him, and they will follow him more and more and more. So I think that this is huge improvement in Elon Musk's personal brand out of all things. And you see there, I believe, Grady, that when you have a strong personal brand, you can do things that you cannot do with money. If you don't have someone out there with a strong personal brand, I don't think it's gonna happen, because, like I said, with the strong personal brand, you can achieve things that you won't be able to achieve with money, right?
It creates distribution that you can't achieve. And I think there's a lot of contributing factors. Here's how you're going to reconcile this and feel okay with it. Like, one, again, it's not overexposure is a problem. So you don't need to worry about this being your core job and doing it all the time. It's about carefully curating where and when you're put in, right? You're going to build a team out that does that, right? So it helps you at a scale. The other thing is it really helps you do what you probably really want to do, is launch products. Launching products on a consistent basis is a great way to build a strong personal brand. And here, as a marketer, as someone who builds in tech, what are we ultimately seeking? We're seeking failure that drives us to where the successful path is with our audience, right? And you can see this with both the examples you shared with both Trump and Elon. They're not right all the time. In fact, they're incorrect in a lot of areas, but it doesn't matter, because they're consistently executing and doing things, and their audience is endearing to that fact that they're trying to do things for them. And so they're giving them the grace to fail at like really massive scales, but the key point there is again, for you don't need to get out and buy a social network platform to be success. In fact, we're seeing people like Peter Levels is a really good example. This is a founder on X who consistently shipped products for years and eventually curated about 15 to 20 different products with significant multiple monthly recurring revenue, that he had a portfolio brand. But bigger than that, his personal brand was now huge, in the hundreds of thousands, because what did he do? Each product that he ships, and he did hundreds over the years, build small audiences of 10, 15, 20K. They all roll up into him, creates value with him. And what does this look like? This is a guy committed to building things for people in the audience, and he's going to keep consistently doing that. So
and that's his brand. And that's his personal brand.
And that should be, and the reality is if you look across any social channel, this is how all creators work. So this is what we can learn from as founders, from creators. It takes a little while to find your shtick, your spiel, the one kind of joke that works, that Seinfeld complaining about airline stewardess mentality. Once you hit it, you might not get to it right away, but that becomes your core. It defines everything about you. And then you can go on, and what do? You release multiple sitcoms. You spin off Larry David's career. You create a huge wake behind you as a producer, where now that you've cultivated that personal brand, you don't have to, you let it do the work for you. Here's another really good core example, if you want to even go further back. Today, between content creation,
back then with Seinfeld, I don't think this concept about personal brand even existed back then. That was the times that when was his show. I think he was the first person that became a billionaire as a comedian, because back in the day, a lot of people were comedians, a lot of actors, but was someone that Seinfeld, one of the examples that he created a strong personal brand about what he does, and look the success, look his net worth compared with with other people in the industry have nothing to do. Yeah. When
not only like his peers, another key point about using like Seinfeld, I like to use common examples because, you know, now we've seen 40 years of Seinfeld. What does it look like? You look at Seinfeld, you look at Sandler, you look at Michael Jordan. These are all individuals who outrose and defined an entire industry and created more value for themselves than the networks that were employing them, than the venture capital firms.
Absolutely.
So this 100%. Is how you get to that next level of founder. And what does it mean? What does it ultimately come back down to? I think when it comes down to, it comes to those core three things again: execute, analyze, iterate. And if you can put that into practical use by just execution is always conversations. Conversations could be launching a product. It could be messaging campaigns. It could be
doing a podcast, could be doing the TV, could do a TV show, could be a radio show, whatever, writing books.
All of those things are a way to scale conversations. And then now today we've got lots of ways to drive that back as far as feedback.
Easier than ever.
Easier than ever. And we can utilize AI. So between social platforms and AI, you have the ability. This is why I like to use Tony Robbins, Michael Jordan, Seinfeld as an example. You can replicate what they did with
100%
and AI, and you can do it in under 2 years. If you don't believe me, look at the Hermosis just 3-4 years ago and 100%. How they've completely changed from just a guy and his girlfriend working in a gym to somebody who exits a $200 million business in 3.5 years and then launches multiple multi-million-dollar businesses under the model that he does now. Like, again, there's no secret to it. Like you said right off the top, it's not hard. It is require focus. It really requires focus, really not at the step of execution. I think being here, listening to this podcast, shipping products, you know about execution. The hard part is analysis, listening, paying attention to what people are telling you, and then iterating to meet those expectations, allowing the market to tell you who to be to an extent, what they want out of you to be successful, and building into that, you can create almost any product. Then distribution is yours and you own it.
Yeah, in my opinion, Grady, I think that before, you know, back in the day, entrepreneurs, they the luxury that they only can have a strong corporate brand, and they can hide, and they don't have to work on the personal brand, because with a strong corporate brand, before it was enough. But now, if you're in business in the DNA that we live in today, I think that's the other way. You will have. So now, Grady, let's talk about resources. And I'm going to ask you a question. If you are a tech startup founder today, and I give you $100, out of these $100, how much percentage of this money you're going to take to create that conversation, to create that community? How much you're going to take for sales and marketing? And how much you're going to take for product development? I'm just giving you this $100 to make easy, because a biggest issue that we find there in tech founder is how to manage resources, especially tech is very expensive. So it's just $100 so the entrepreneurs can have an idea. If they have $1,000, if they have $10,000, if they have $100,000, even if they have $1 million, they have a blueprint how much resources. But what I don't want to happen is things that people that come to me that say, Harry, you know, we already have put 100,000, you already have put $500,000 in this product, we remortgage our house, we ask the money to all the friends and family, and now we are stuck here with this big elephant. We don't have resources to go sales and marketing. We don't know if the product is actually market fit or not. And Harry help us and say, how can I help you guys? If you're ready to all your resources and put in product development, again, you're first time founder, and this is very common mistake to do. Your products focus, and it happened to all of us the first time that we start a business. We focus on the products, and we thinking that if the product is good, people will buy by itself. It doesn't work like this, knowing tech, knowing any business out there. So Grady, what's your formula? I give you $100.
Yeah.
How divide your resources in your tech startup to make sure that it's balanced and it's sustainable for growth?
Yeah. All right. I'll start with the easy bucket right away. We're going to do 3% to team and overhead, 2.5% to team, 0.5% to overhead. You can't avoid these things. Don't trick yourself into saying, I can't take a salary. My team didn't take a salary. You're going to burn everybody out. So those things are necessary. Talked about here, really, let's avoid both of those expenditures for the early stage. I'm going to urge that everyone should put at least 60 to 65% into distribution right away. Now, this isn't sales and marketing. It's not necessarily product. It could be coming in a lot of different ways. You could be, the whole point here is to be light and scrappy and focus around maybe making simple product launches within a small community. Just a landing page and a sign up form as a product launch. We don't need to have any development done with that. It's also not necessarily sales and marketing. To me, sales and marketing is like, we've done a product launch. We had 1,000 people that saw it and 100 of them actually signed up and used it. Now I know that I could like pay a paid ad campaign or set up a social manager to start doing. That's the social spend on it. The product spend would be like, now I can actually build out whatever the landing page spoke to and create a workflow that we can capture the money on it. So either way, we're putting 60 to 65% right into that distribution, which is getting to the customer, whether it's doing outreach campaigns, using social and also email to do the outreach, or it's doing product launches. We're getting out there and we're testing the fit to make sure it makes sense. So now what do we have left? We've got like roughly 22 or 23% left. No, 33% left or so, about a third of it.
And we had 3% for overhead. So now we have 30.
Yeah, so let's say we're at
3% for team and other. So we have 30 left.
Yeah, about 30%.
25, because 65 goes to distribution.
So I guess from here, then what I want to say is the next step is you might be really quick to create product. Well, if you think product drives you the revenue, I would do that. But again, we really don't know enough about what we're doing to make too thick of a product. And that's one of the dangers of any early stage company is getting too far ahead. So what we need to do is like, let's say another 5 to 10% then goes into the product. So we give a thicker product, something that we ideally can create revenues and look at churn. Or like I said, create revenue is the big one. We could look at churn, making sure people are finding it useful, or creating that we can sell to it. Then all of a sudden,
Grady, to interrupt you. Yeah, that with the MVP, minimum viable product, very easy. People forget about the first M. Yeah,
minimum.
He's saying the word MVP, minimum viable product, exactly what you're describing.
I've 10, seen
maximum 15%, just minimum, something that actually, right?
Yeah, I've seen so many people launch a company today with a minimal viable product, which is a social post. That's it.
It's wow, very post. Good.
You've seen this too.
That's a proper minimum viable.
Yeah, how many times have you given your email because somebody said, look, I learned how to make this AI sequence. If you give me your email or DM me, I'll send you the actual process. That's minimum viable product right there, isn't it? Could become a course.
No, people don't understand that's a minimum viable product. People understand a minimum viable product, have the software already working in the cloud, servers, developers, and exactly. This is not what it is, right?
It's super light. So here now we've spent about 65% on creating distribution, 10% on creating a product that speaks to that distribution. Now, again, we're not
minimum, like you said, minimum,
right? We're not spending the 65 to get to the 10. Like maybe we're putting the 10% in after we've gotten 25% sent, right? Then we're seeing what people think, sending that out. Once we get an idea that, hey, people are actually buying this, necessarily churning, right? Now we're ready to do sales and marketing. And here, if you do the math on it, we're like 15% plus that you can now put back in. So a little bit more than the product early on, because ultimately we're at this point, we're almost ready to go to a seed stage. Like what we'd ultimately need to prove to get investment is a product people can use and also a system that's going to bring people in and hold them there, right? So if you think about it, in my opinion, this isn't a product versus sales or marketing discussion, but proving that you can find people and keep them in is as important, if not more important, than the initial product. Because what are you really getting out of that first funding round? The to build out the product right. And so usually my experience with working as a venture capitalist and helping assess companies as they come in too has been when we're looking at that stage, how ready are these people then to scale a product? I would expect at that stage in real macro terms, they're going to spend 30 to 40% of the funds that I give them on product development and the 60% on those heavy overhead costs of now taking marketing from a one-to-one, one to a few, to a many-to-many sort of compound. So this is where that really scales up. So initially this was a really long answer, but I hope it gave everybody
it's good. Idea. This is the answer that we need. This is the, hopefully, thank you so much.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.